Well, good afternoon, ladies and germs, or whenever you're watching this video. So here we are, the season finale of The Handmaid's Tale, season 4, episode 10. It opens up with June having her flashbacks to when Fred Waterford used to take her to Jezebel's, which was totally against what the rules are. But being a handmaid, she couldn't tell the Waterford no. She was their property. So if she says something, she break the rule. She did what Waterford said. She break the rule. Either way, she was screwed. Okay, so she's remembering those, and she remembers the hate, the feelings that start to come back, knowing that Fred was going to go to Geneva for his hearing. And when he gets back to Canada, he was going to be a free man. Well, while he was answering the questions that the Canadian officials were, wanting information on, Serena showed her true colors. She started to get a bit testy with Truello. She was like demanding things like, he is the commander, you shall address him as the commander, and he's going to need faster Wi-Fi. He has constituents to speak to. And no, we are not going to be settling in Canada. I would not want to raise my child in this country. Which totally shocked Truello, because she just told Canada all the things that her husband forced her to do, including cutting off her own finger. Her husband allowed the Gilead law to chop off his wife's finger because she read the Bible. And he's like, Joella was like, you're gonna go live with him as husband and wife, and she's like, no, we're gonna go and live as a family. She wants that nuclear family so bad. Wait till she finds out that baby just cost her husband. Oh, God. Oh, God. So, that's Serena. Janine was not even thought in this, which I wish I would have seen more of Janine. But they put so much in episode 10. I don't think they could have squeezed in another piece of information. June was like, she couldn't get over the fact that this man did what he did, not only to her, but to other handmaids, because they did have handmaids before. June was not the Waterford's first handmaid. The previous handmaid, I'm not sure how many they had prior to June, but the one just before June hung herself. You would know this in season 2, or was it season 1? You have to watch season 1 to get up to date. If you watch season 1, the rest of them all make sense. Okay. So season 1 was actually Margaret Atwood, Handmaid's Tale. It was the book. Season 2, 3, and 4 was what could have been after the book. That's why it goes in all these odd directions. And I don't think anybody liked was it season 2 or 3? No, 3 was real good. Season 2 was not the best. But anyway, I think that's the one where where Nick takes her for a ride, so to speak, to get some fresh air. And she gives birth alone in an abandoned house. So, yeah. That episode, I don't think, that whole season was a little, but interesting. I mean, I like them all, so I'm biased. I like the whole concept. Now, if you're new to the channel and I'm 5 minutes into this, you're thinking, what the hell is she blabbering about? Handmaid's Tale, read the book. It's a good read. And watch season 1. You'll be all caught up. So, now, what had happened is that they had taken Fred, Canada has taken Fred's word over June's word, because Fred's words, and what I mean by words is the information he had, is more valuable with June than what June had. Because what June had is her experience, but what Fred could offer was inside information. He was there, he was running it, or he was part of it. Lawrence, Commander Lawrence, was running it. Anyway, so that's why Canada did what they did, because Fred's information was more valuable. But if you listen to the questions when the Canadian government was questioning Fred, he wasn't saying the truth. They asked him how often they go to Jezebel, and he's like, not too often. Well, no, an occasional visit. Oh, come on. He was going in on a regular basis, and he was taking June with him because he wanted to get something more than just his basic, husband-wife relationship. So right there, he wasn't telling the truth. He wasn't being fully honest. Now, when you're making a plea deal, you better be 100% honest. Throw everything on the table, because you will be at the Canadian government mercy. And Fred did not do that. He was not honest. Okay, so June decided to do a little digging around herself. And she was like, he can't get away with this. He just can't get away with this. So she got in contact with Commander Lawrence. Now, if you haven't picked up by now, Commander Lawrence has a private line, or a secured line, to Canada. Because he's like one of the highest ranking commanders. So he kind of gets privileges. And so they met at an abandoned cafe. What I mean by they, June, Choello, and Commander Lawrence all met at a cafe that was arranged by June. And Choello was handed files from 23, the rebellion, the resistance, yes. Files of 23 women that were part of the resistance. So what had happened is that the resistance would actually have more information on how they got through the system and how they worked the system, because that's how the resistance existed. It was like, okay, we're going to use your flaws. Like a hacker. They used the system against itself. It worked, and the resistance lived. So that makes the resistance women more valuable than Fred. So there was a prisoner exchange. When Fred packed up and thought he was getting on a plane to Geneva, it was, surprise, surprise, we're not going to Geneva. And Fred was like, what the hey? We had a deal. Now, keep in mind, Fred's been whistling like a canary. And they're going to do a prisoner exchange between Gilead and Canada for these people. You'll get Commander back, and we get the resistance. And Gilead was wanting to get rid of the resistance anyway. But I veer off course. They make the trade. And guess who comes to pick up Fred? Commander Lawrence. So you got Lawrence, you got Waterford. They're hanging out at the bridge. Choello leave them behind, because there's a bridge that connects Gilead and Canada. And there's a line down the middle. One side says Gilead, the other side says Canada. As long as you don't step over that line, you're not in Gilead. So Choello brings Fred up to the line and pushes him over the border into Gilead. And it was like, and of course this happens once the 23 women from the resistance are let go. With that exchange made, Nick shows up. Nick, if you know by now, is been promoted to a commander, and he has eyes. These are people, young men, that called eyes when they're young, and then when they get older, they're assigned a family and they become commanders. Yes, it's a hierarchy. So Nick used to be an eye. That means whatever he sees, whatever he said, he reports back to commanders and the board of commanders. Okay, so he got promoted. He is now commander himself, and he is now assigned eyes so he could train them. They come up and they pick up Fred from Commander Lawrence. They put Fred into that gray jail kind of prison van that they have in Gilead. Oh yeah. I'm so nervous right now. I'm so nervous. Okay, so Nick takes Fred to the middle of what is called no man's land. They call it no man's land because it's not it's a patch of not property, but a patch of land. It doesn't belong to Gilead. It doesn't belong to Canada. It's just there. They call it no man's land. And Nick takes Fred to no man's land. And then Nick out of the blue, or out of the darkness, because it's middle of the night, comes June. What the heck is June doing in the middle of no man's land? She's supposed to be back in Canada. Comes over, Nick looks at June looks at Nick, and they give each other the most passionate kiss. Right there in front of Fred. Yeah. So, Nick goes and leaves Fred in the middle of no man's land alone with June. June gives Fred two options. He could either drink the vial of poison and die, or he could use a pistol and end it there. And Fred was like, well, I know you don't have the guts to pull the trigger, and I'm not drinking the poison. Well, she had a third option. She blew a whistle. And when that whistle blew, it was like every single handmaid that she could get, former handmaid that she could get hold of in Canada, every single Rita, everyone that was a victim of a commander started coming out of the forest in a big circle all around the commander, and they were carrying flashlights. So you can imagine, in the middle of the dark forest, you see flashlights, silhouette of women coming out of the darkness, and he was terrified. The same terror that he put in those women, he met. And all June could say, she bent down and whispered to him, run. Run. So he ran. He begged for his son's life. He's like, I have a son. Well, you know what? The women you harmed had children too. And of course, needless to say, and they beat the bejeebus out of the commander. They couldn't put him on the wall in Gilead. But they found the wall. And he didn't have a head on. Someone, I don't know who, but someone mailed a package to Serena. Now, Serena is being detained. And when you're being detained and you get a package while you're in detention, that's what they call it. They don't call it prison. They call it detention. You're being detained. It's not prison. But your packages get searched. So someone mailed her a package. The warden or not the warden, the guys that patrol the prison, that work at the prison. Anyway, one of the guards, yes, one of the guards. Sorry, brain fart. And he's doing the mail delivery. He opens up the package that was sent to Serena and pulls out a wedding ring. And then he's like, something's, he shakes the bag, or it's like one of those bubble wrap, the yellow bubble envelopes that they use now. Well, he shakes it, something's jiggling in there. He pours it out on the table, and lo and behold, it's the wedding thing, is the ring finger that goes with the ring that they chopped off the person it belonged to. So, needless to say, now Serena is a widow. She can't go back to Gilead because for her to claim asylum in Canada, she had to say some really bad things about Gilead and why she can't go back because she'll be, anyway. And being that she did give birth to that, she is pregnant and they know she's fertile now, she will be a handmaid. There's no way that she'll be a Martha. She will be a handmaid because she could give birth. If she ever is to go back to Gilead, because Fred is gone. Fred is gone. And she's a single mom, and in Gilead there is no single moms. It's just not. This goes to season 5 now. This is all guesswork. All guesswork from here on out. If you read Testimony, is Margaret Atwood, Handmaid's Tale Part 2 in her books. It's called Testimony. You must read Margaret Atwood's Testimony. Because Hannah, who is Agnes, somehow becomes Aunt Agnes. Oh dear God. No. And she's training what's called pearls. A pearl is a woman that goes to other countries and try to talk fertile women to coming to Gilead. Kind of like, I would say, napping, with child. Well, it can't be kidnapping because they're not kids. But they go over and they try to get women, these pearls go and try to get women to come back to Gilead. And Hannah, in the testimonies, they talk about the pearls, they talk about Aunt Agnes, they talk about, I don't know where Janine is yet. I haven't found Janine. I don't know what's going on with her. And I don't know what's going to happen to June yet. Because she did commit a murder. So does that mean the Canadian authorities is going to charge her with that? If she can't go back to Gilead because they'll kill her too. Either that or put her on the breeding farm because she can't produce children. This season 5, oh dear God, is going to have so many questions. But I just started Testament. Read it for yourself. Maybe we may have a book club. I don't know yet. But this was a fabulous season. I love season 4. I'm looking forward to season 5. Stay with me on this. If you like this shenanigans and you want me to give you a review on season 5 when it opens next year, let me know and I'll be happy to do this with you. So until next time, oh no, not till next time. Blessed be the fruit under his eye, and may he open. See you next season.